All right. Welcome to this week's episode of Drew's podcast. We're going to title it Uncut Thoughts or Memoirs of a Broken Soul. Not sure which one yet, but we have some entrance music. I just wanted to try that out. I feel like a little bit of music at the beginning will always set the tone for something. But I'm actually really excited for this kind of format when it comes to assignments, because I have always really wanted to try something like this. I have dreams of having my own podcast one day, so maybe it'll be some sort of a springboard for me to go from where I am now to, I don't know, even if it's a level of cathartic therapy, we'll explore. Homework, let's get into it. We do have some questions here. And I do have a lot to say about things in general, so I love questions. When it comes to me taking the course, outside of it being general education, I'm very drawn to philosophy as a whole. I would say that I'm kind of an inner philosopher in some way. I actually used to kind of make my parents upset because I would go on tangents or have just more ethereal conversations. Ethereal meaning just anything that was questioning logic or questioning the reality of a situation. So I was known as like a little mini philosopher, much to my detriment because it would just cause friction in the house. But that's fine. That's in the past. And so being drawn to philosophy as a whole, now that I have to, satisfy certain requirements for school, I have noticed that I tend to steer myself or kind of be drawn towards any classes that pertain to philosophy. So overall, I think that is kind of just a natural thing for me to be drawn to. And kind of piggybacking off of that, what do I feel like philosophers do? And this is ultimately the thing that draws me, in my opinion, to the concept as a whole. I believe that philosophers just really delve inward. And after watching the Crash Course videos, which I really enjoy Crash Course, so it was really fun to go through the philosophy videos. And well, honestly, one of the things that kept coming up was the concept of questioning, right? Just questioning. And there's many different things to question overall, and there's different layers of philosophy, and they kind of overlap with psychology and science and everything. But overall, without getting too far into the weeds, I do feel like philosophers question and delve inward with those questions. I.e., what is my stance on this? What are my morals? What are morals? Why are we here? Why am I present? What is consciousness? How do I relate to society as a whole? How does society operate? What kind of society is society? And why is this society necessary? Those kinds of things are honestly what kind of fills my head 90% of the time. But ultimately, the process of going through those questions, into those tangents, into the weeds, is where I feel the work of a philosopher kind of really lies. And on that note, something that I particularly look forward to delving into and deconstructing and connecting is the idea, or honestly, it came up with it in the exercise of the experience machine, I believe, in the PDF that we were supposed to read. I don't remember not the artist, the author, or whoever postulated that mental exercise, but it's the thought exercise, right? Where basically, could you, if you were in this theoretical scenario where you could hook yourself up to a machine and kind of experience whatever you wanted to with whatever filter you wanted to experience it with, would you stay there? Would you not? How is that different from reality? And XYZ, would that be your reality? Overall, that was my just brief Spark Notes impression of it. I do feel like there's definitely a connection between the experience machine and religion overall. I came from actually a Jehovah's Witness background, and I was raised within the church and spent 25 years of my life dedicated to that. But that was honestly the only thing that I knew, because I was raised in it from birth. So I never really had any sort of input beyond my little burning philosophical self, wondering why we were learning such things and why our belief systems were kind of based off of scripture and certain contexts. So that's a whole different conversation and complex itself. But I do feel like there's some overlap between the idea or the mental exercise of the experience machine and how that kind of relates to religion overall. I do feel like there's some connections into maybe people creating a reality or living in a reality kind of in a way that is like a machine, choosing to experience or have a certain filter on things in order to make this overall life experience have a certain narrative. And I think that's damaging, and it's something that needs to be explored a little bit more. So I am kind of really curious to see how that complex of experiencing emotions in life, even as with the idea of a machine, how that kind of pertains to and connects to religion and the psychology of a person overall. Major wise, I am actually a finance major, which is not something I ever thought I would do, but that's my path, and I finally made that choice myself, which feels really good. And I do want to transfer to a 4-year university after I get my associate level studies done. Yeah, actually feel pretty good about that decision, so I'm really happy with that. As far as philosophy courses go, this is the second philosophy course I've taken. I actually took a philosophy writing class last semester, and that was a little different for sure. It was very academic, and I honestly did not know what to expect, but it was definitely a learning experience, and I appreciate certain aspects about it. Well, that's all for me today, folks. I hope that I didn't bore you too bad, and maybe we got some questions kind of popping up in mind. And we'll catch you next time on Drew's podcast. Have a good night.